Happy people, Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a video using the Willows collection from Coco Daisy, and I'll be using the 12 by 12 paper add-on with the scrapbook kit to make a layout about our little, not trip, but our day at the ancient lore village in Knoxville. It's like a little hobbit village, definitely supposed to look like hobbits, in the center of the city. It is wild. It is a beautiful place. We went there on an incredibly hot day. It was disgusting outside, but we went as a family while my sister was visiting. My mom came up from Georgia, and so I have a bunch of photos from this day, including activities that we did, but I'm going to focus a 2-page layout on just the grounds of the ancient lore village. So this is going to be a 12 by 12 layout that is going to be paired with a pocket page, and the pocket page will be my next video. So I'm starting with this 12 by 12 layout, and I tore that storybook page that has, I think, Wind in the Willows, and I decided that I was going to use it as a background because it made sense to me. Not only does the theme and the vibe of this collection make sense with these photos to me, but also just the whole storybook thing, even though it's not the same story as like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, the story vibe really made sense. So I wanted to have that book page as the main background on this layout. I'm trying to make it work so that I can use the other side of this page for the rest of the 12 by 12 layout. Struggling a little bit to make it fit right. It just doesn't want to. So I think I give up and I just use the other side, or a different 12 by 12 paper instead, maybe. I don't know, we'll find out. I might make this work, but I don't think that I do. Just taking all the adhesive off. And instead, we're just going to use the 12 by 12. I figured it was going to be okay because really this is the perfect paper for a story like this. But most of my scrapbooking probably is not going to fit along this theme. So it's okay to use both sides of this paper on one layout. Although, look at me, still saving paper because it's what I do. Okay, so now I have my base of my layout done, and I have these 4 or 3, they're not quite 4 by 6, I think they're like 3.5 by 5 or something like that, photos to put on this page, and I'm trying to decide if I want to stagger them or if I want to put them directly down the middle. I'm going to use some of the 6 by 8 papers from the actual scrapbook kit to mat these photos. Or at least one. I don't know. I think they need to stand out a little bit more, have a little bit of delineation from the background. I feel like there's a lot happening visually in these photos. There's a lot to take in, so I just kind of want to separate them out and make sure that we can see them all. Although this yellow doesn't seem like a good choice for that. Kind of blends into the background looking at it now. Maybe not. Okay, so we're going to use the blue and green dots on the top and the bottom, and then yellow in the middle, which it doesn't quite make it stand out from the background, which actually, maybe I was thinking straight because it's the only photo that is just the ancient lore village, no people in it, so, you know, maybe it's okay to have it blend in a little bit, but I am going to ink the edges of everything, so maybe that's what I was thinking, is that because I was going to ink the edges of everything, it was okay to have that sort of yellow paper on this yellow layout. But this ink pad is from the Creative Kit, so it has, in the Creative Kit, there's a really cool stencil and stamp set, and so ink came with it, but this green ink is perfect for this layout, so I'm going to use it. And I'm also going to use it again later to do a really cool trick. Okay, so I've got these settled. I don't think we're going to go straight down the middle because I thought it looked kind of odd, so we're just going to stagger them diagonally as well. Perfect. I didn't want to cover up too much of that stripy paper in the center, so I'm going to move them over a little, but even then it didn't really show me too much, so we're going to go this way instead, maybe? No. So many decisions to make, so little time. You can see that we're going back to the original plan now. I did like the diagonal, but then I was like, well, we're covering up the entire tear down the middle, so that defeats the purpose. So I guess it just really depends on what you're trying to accomplish here. I'm going to stagger this one off to the side, and that kind of gives me the same effect as doing the diagonal, except now we can see the center. Okay, so now I'm going to use the ink as a way to recolor this alphabet. So both alphabets in the scrapbooking kit are this green color, and I really needed a little bit more contrast, as well as you know, the background or the page that I made ended up being very yellow in tone, so this kind of yellow green disappeared in or on the background. So I really just wanted to add something a little bit different, and since these are cardstock letters, they took this ink very well with a blending brush, and also added some cool texture too because you got the ink blending going on. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to add these directly on the paper, and then I'm going to add the other alphabet as sort of the beginning of the title, which is going to spell out Ancient Lore Village. And I'm going to put these on a tag instead of putting them directly on the background, just so that you can see them better. So it's a tag from the die cuts. Now I'm going to move everything up, and I'm going to ink the edge of this tag and add in a blue string for, I wanted to bring in the blue in the striped paper. No more green, no more yellow, or brown, I suppose. We're gonna need some blue here. So I go over to my stash and I pull out a nice, pretty, almost like a denim blue. I don't know. I have this stash of twine. I think it came from like Michael's a million years ago. It's all colors. It's really pretty. Tie a bow, and this is a sticky die cut, so I'm just going to stick it directly down. Perfect. Make sure this bow doesn't cover everyone up. And then I'm going to add in all of my letters individually, which means I got to peel the back off of every single letter. Perfect. I love it. Okay, so now I can add my journaling underneath that, which I'm going to do with just by trimming some of the white paper into journal strips, and I'll just write directly on them. But let's get to embellishing as well. So we've got some die cuts pulled out that might work with this page, and I'm going to pull in some of the rub-ons as well. Decided to go ahead and add in my journaling strips so that I knew where they were going to go before I stuck anything down. I always do groups of 3 journaling strips. I actually always do groups of 3 everything. I think I'm just highly trained to do groups of 3. It's just how I roll. I think we're going to trim all these down, and then I'm going to ink the edges because we're inking the edges of everything. I want it to be a little bit messier on these journal strips. I want to see the ink. So I'm trying to get a little bit messy. Oh, there we go. Too messy. All right, so now I can stick these down. And they're all going to go directly underneath the title. Staggered, of course. Just like the photos, but like in the opposite direction. So now I have a bunch of rub-ons I'm going to add. That willow tree, we've got the pond with the little lily pads down at the bottom, there's a cloud, lots of fun things that I put on this page. Dragonfly, now I'm adding some die cuts. I'll be honest with you, when I first looked at this collection, I did not know what I was going to do with all these animals. I always struggle a little bit with the animals when we get the collections from this designer, just because it's just not really my thing, but I think it worked out perfectly for this page. I think it looks perfect for this theme, for these photos, so I was really happy with that. Getting close to done here, but then I decide to go all in. Add a little bit more. Why not? Let's just add more. I'm gonna put this cloud, I wanted to put it up here, but I didn't know. Some leaves as well. This is where I start having a little bit more fun. I'm going to use the ink again and stamp from the stamp set, or this is from the scrapbook kit, stamp set from the scrapbook kit. I do it a couple of times just to cover my bases to see which one I like better. So I'm going to stamp in duplicate every time. And there's like a rating box on this one. So I'm gonna do one at a time here. Star rating. Then I decide I like the first one best, so I'm gonna cut that one out and use it. I just kept the other one to the side in case I liked it, or in case I wanted to use it later, but I'm gonna use the left one on this page. I decided to pull a heart directly off my layout, and then I changed my mind and used a different heart after I pulled that one off my layout. And this is gonna fill up some of the space down underneath my journaling. I'm gonna use a smaller chipboard heart instead. So it just mimics the whole thing, right? We've got the white stamped paper, we've got the tag that repeats the tag up on the top, so it just kind of creates a whole cohesive look for this page and finishes it off nicely, I think, if I can get this tied. There. And then I decide that maybe we just need a little bit more blue, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this photo in twine and tie a bow, just for fun. So now we've got 3 blue bows, lots of string on this page, adds lots of fun texture, and just like a cute little touch, right? Put all this stuff back, trim it down, and this is about done, I believe. Yep, just gonna add some staples to hold everything down and add in some texture. And then I'm gonna call it good. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. There is an affiliate link to Cocoa Daisy in the description box below if you are interested in starting a subscription. And I will see you next time. Thank you.